Mika Hakkinen speaks as to his confidence to the capabilities of Lando Norris. So Mika Hakkinen speaks to the confidence of his capabilities of Lando Norris. Well, I don't completely disagree with Hakkinen. Decent dude when I met him. A cool commercial for the beer, which is oddly very similar to his name. But I'm not fully on board with what Mika Hakkinen is saying about Lando. I think a lot of us at some point in time, I think a lot of us, or many of us, let me say many of us thought, okay, when this moment happened in Austria, 2024, I think some of us marked it. What's going on, Oscar? How you doing? I think some of us marked it as a moment that Lando had finally reached a point in his mental fortitude that may yield positive results against his battle with Max. What's going on, Dave's Quattro? So let's check out some of the things Mika said, and then we can go over that. So right here, Mika Hakkinen, is convinced that Lando Norris is ready to win his first Formula One World Championship. All right, by Scott Hunt. He goes down here and says, McLaren, who has been nominated, for the Lord's Award, Team of the Year Award, very great, cool. All of that is team stuff. We really want to know, what is it about Lando that has proven to Mika that this is possible? So Mika says, he won his first championship, back-to-back title season with McLaren, and believes 25-year-old Lando Norris has experience needed on the journey becoming a championship. Hakkinen told PA News Agency when asked if Lando has what it takes to win a title, he says, I experienced so many years of racing with F1 without success. Why didn't I get the success? It was partly because of my development to become a good driver, and also the car was not good enough. Okay, so let's talk to that. Let's go ahead and speak to that for a second. We all know, what's up, Galactus? I see you, brother. What's going on, everybody in live chat? We all know that there was a point in time last season, clearly McLaren became the most dominant performing car, even above Red Bull. Okay, we all know this. I don't think any of us are questioning the car's capability at this point in time. So the situation that Mika had, the situation that Lando even at once had with the car is not a concern right now. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, because we're going into a new season, new developments, new design. There could be some gremlins that come out, and then again, the car could become a bottleneck. But right now, the car has proven good, and they've even reported as much as 0.5 off of last year's time. So that means they've gotten faster. 0.5 faster is a hell of a lot in just like your initial evolution to the next season. That's a lot. And there's no telling what they will gain going forward. But we're not concerned about the car. We're more concerned about Lando and his conflict of interest relationship with Max Verstappen. Now, as I said, that has to do with Lando's mindset, his mental fortitude, and his ability to make decisions, not concerned about derailing his bestie friendship with Max. And that is just legitimate. That is just true. Okay. We've heard Lando even speak as of right now. He was asked this at the livery launch, and his answer didn't tell me that mentally he had reached a place where Max is my friend, but I'm not going to give a damn about him when I hit that track. He hasn't really shown me that. So we go back to this. He says you keep developing and pushing to become a good driver, and that means you are taking risk, and risk mean that you are putting yourself in positions to make mistakes. I want to read this again. You keep developing and pushing to become a good driver, and that means you are taking risk, and risk means that you are putting yourself in position to make mistakes. This was one of those positions in Austria. One of those positions was the collision that took place with Lando and Max, because Max is doing what typically Max does, correct? We saw him do it to Charles in the USGP. Charles damn near ran into the parking lot. We saw Lewis Hamilton have enough of it at Silverstone. Max got what he deserved. He got what he was earning, okay? We saw him try this against George Russell, I believe in Azerbaijan. He gets mad, calls Russell a dickhead because Russell decides I'm not giving up my position and gets a hole in the side pot. We saw Max here do it again last season with Lewis Hamilton as he dive bombs into the corner. Lewis Hamilton already approaching the apex on his normal pathway. Max bunny hops the car, didn't have any control at all because he was completely locked up smoking going into the corner, and gets off track. And then we saw Max, round 11, Austria, have a collision with Lando. And I think at that point in time, we said it's about time. Lando is now willing to put himself in a position of risk and making mistakes. Calculated risk. This was a calculated risk. This was a moment where Lando was going to be able to put into Max Verstappen's mind that I am no longer just going to give you ground. I'm no longer going to allow you to bully the apex, and I'm just going to come off of it and sit on the porch while you run off happily. At this point in time, many of us saw Lando as, you know what, I'm taking a stand, and I'm going to teach you that you're going to give me space or you're going to suffer penalty and consequences as well. I think I was on board with it. I was on board with it. I was, until Lando showed me that it was no more. Okay, so let's go into this. He says, I think Lando has reached all these elements in his career. He has been taking risk and he has been critical of himself. He has been pushing flat out. Okay, when I have been studying and looking around, people say, is he ready? Can he mentally take this kind of pressure? And Lando showed us, no, he can't. Because what did Lando say right after this situation? He said that he didn't owe Max an apology. He said that he wasn't apologizing. And if anybody was going to be apologizing, Max Verstappen would need to apologize. He felt like Max was wrong. There was a lot of big talk in the pen, the bullpen, when Lando in this situation happened. And then what happened the following round? Round 12, I mean, it's like he went into a room, got his mind erased, and they reprogrammed him. He comes out, says, no, Max doesn't need to apologize. It's okay. He basically just washed it. He basically washed it, which told me, no, mentally, you weren't ready. Mentally, you were in the moment of passion and you felt you was ready. And then when everything died down, you forgot about the stand that you took against Max, why you took that stand, who Max is to majority everybody on this track, including you, and you back down. So I would say, no, Lando has just wiped the board clean as far as me thinking that he has the mental fortitude to stand up against his friend, Max Verstappen. And that's what it's going to take. You can't keep holding the door open for Max. You can't keep not taking these risks. You took a risk here and it was going to pay off big. And then you erased your momentum that you were going to have with Max Verstappen. You did. You erased it. And now Max Verstappen still knows he has one up mentally on you. He still knows that he lives rent-free in a small portion of your brain, that when this situation occurs, you are going to bend the knee. Lando is going to yield, and Max Verstappen is going to get by. The only way this does not happen is if Lando's car outperforms Max Verstappen's car to a point where he puts distance between the two, and it doesn't have to happen. But I am not confident yet that Lando has achieved mentally being able to stand up to the bully and Max Verstappen that he is on track, which is one of Max's characteristics and a tool in his arsenal. I honestly have to just say that if you can push and people are going to yield, are you not going to do it? I mean, I do it at the karting track. If I see that I can get alongside you and you're a little timid, I'm going to do it every time. I'm not going to try to wreck you out, which Max Verstappen pretty much going to put you in a position to wreck you out. But I'm going to push you every time. And this is what Max does. What's up, Lord Chaos, Days Quattro Galactics? I see you. This is what he does every time. And Max back down. So until I see Max and Lando beside each other and Lando actually race Max hard, elbows out, and says, you know what, I'm not moving, you're going to move, I'm not believing that Lando's got the mindset of a dog in him. Because I think a lot of us were like, Lando don't have that dog in him. This is not about attacking Lando's mental health. This is not about saying Lando mentally can't get things done. This is about saying Lando has proven to us via his actions that he has not reached a state in his mind that he is going to be able to fight Max Verstappen with everything that it would take to fight Max Verstappen to win a championship, unless there's plenty of space and room between the two. I'm not confident side by side like this, Lando's going to win that battle more often than not. I'm just not right now. So we go back in here, says, when you are not world champion, you are working towards the goal. It requires a lot of mistakes. And you're right. It does require you to do some things and try some different things. True. I don't think this thing is unnecessarily hard. I just think that Lando can't get over it. I believe Lando is ready. He's flat out ready to achieve his goal, and he can become a world champion. It's not that I don't believe he can ever become. It's just about, will he become one in the midst of Max Verstappen being on track? Norris's favorite ahead of the new season, which gets underway March 16th. All right? March 16th. Lando's going to have to prove it. Lando's going to have to prove it. And until he proves it, until he shows us that this actually can happen and that he actually will be able to do it, I don't believe it. And if we go on to read right here, it says Verstappen, who is contention to win the Lord's Award, again, whatever the case that is, I don't care. There were a number of controversial wheel-to-wheel battles between the pair, particularly at the U.S. and Mexico race, with Norris critical of himself for losing out at times. And guess what? Norris does this all the time. He does this all the time. He sits here, he'll come on camera, he'll come on the interview, he'll be very self-critical of himself to the point where it's like, okay, you think, okay, Lando, he gets it. He understands what he did wrong, and I trust that in the next situation, Lando is going to actually do what needs to be done. And then what happens when we get there? Lando doesn't necessarily do what needs to be done. That's technically what we've seen. We've seen Lando talk about it. We've seen Lando even confess to it. And then we watch Lando go back out on track and act as if he never told us what he learned about the situation and to see that he actually is going to grow from that situation. That's what typically happens, especially in regard to Max Verstappen. And I honestly believe we've watched Lando make plenty of mistakes, especially with his tire call. And I think Sochi, that was when it rained. I think we watched him, rush. I think we watched him completely piss off that. And Lando has even himself showed us that when he's in the car in the race and he decides to do, as I would call, pull a boss move and tell the pit wall what he thinks needs to be done in contradiction of what they're saying. And then in a lap or two, we hear Lando over the radio say, okay, I'm not sure about that. Y'all need to tell me what to do. This is Lando Norris. I think I can. Maybe I can't. I'm going to jump. Maybe I won't. I know better than you. Okay, maybe I don't. That is what we've literally in real time heard over radio transmission Lando Norris do. And this is the same thing that's happening in real time in regards to his decision-making, whether to race hard, whether to put Max in the compromising situation that he's willing to put you in and back out. We've seen Lando back out more than go forward and push Max. And that's what it's going to take for a driver like Max. Situations like this, and then for you to come into the interview and say, I don't give a damn. Max Verstappen is going to learn. He's going to give me space, or he's going to suffer these consequences for the majority of the season, which is going to conflict and it's going to impact us both. That's what's going to happen. He's going to learn to give me space, or he's going to be sitting with a lot of DNFs on his race record, as well as I may be too. That's what I'm willing to do this season. I'm willing to have those situations. I'm willing to not finish a race if he's not going to respect me and he's not going to give me space. And guess what? Max Verstappen, like any other bully, if you punch them dead in their mouth, they're going to think twice, maybe even 3 times about trying you. They're probably going to move on to somebody else. But when you have an unscheduled stance against a bully, and then the same day you back down, or the next day you back down, oh no, that bully believes he still has you. That bully believes she still got your number. And that's pretty much what Lando Norris did. He still let Max Verstappen know he's got your number. What's up, Lord Chaos, Mary Beanie? I see you. How you doing? So no, I hear what Hakkinen is saying, and I'm not saying that he's wrong. He's right about taking the risk, making the mistakes. But I don't believe he's right until I see from Lando that it is proven Lando is willing to do what needs to be done in these situations with Max Verstappen, because that's what it's going to take. The only thing that's going to allow Lando to race free and clear of these concerns is Red Bull, I believe, on the back foot. McLaren looks like they're going to come in, not at a slow start, right off the rip, and there won't be necessarily a situation where he's going to have to race against Max wheel to wheel. Then, okay, Lando, go do your thing. But the moment that Max Verstappen steps on the same yard in the same sand pit, yeah, I'm going to be concerned if Lando's actually going to be able to stand up against that. And I think Lando's a good person. Lando is a good person. I've seen him do good work. I worked alongside him at McLaren in Texas as far as with kids and seeing the things he was doing with the STEM programs. I was actually there. Lando seemed to be a very cool dude. But when we're talking about his dog mentality on the racetrack, he hasn't shown he got that dog in him yet. And that is what he needs to do. He needs to get the dog in him. He just needs to bring the dog out. Okay? I'm just calling it how I see it. So let me know what you all feel about Lando Norris and what Mika Hakkinen has said about Lando in regard to he thinks he's ready. He thinks he can do it. And do you agree with Mika, or do you disagree? And if you disagree, tell me why you disagree in the comment section. Tell me what you think Lando may need to do or accomplish in order to be a world champion. Some of you probably don't even think Lando may become a world champion. I almost feel like Oscar might become a world champion before Lando. You know, last season, Oscar had some troubles and some concerns. Sophomore slump. I give it to him. This season, I'm looking for Oscar to return and be even more dominant. And Zach Brown said he's going to allow them to race. And if Oscar doesn't do that and he kind of falls back, then it's just going to be I'm going to be a little bit more hesitant on, okay, maybe Oscar, very good rookie breakout season, sophomore slump, didn't really recover. What happens in the 4th season? All right, maybe this is what Oscar's going to be, because McLaren definitely seems like they have the car. All right, definitely. So Oscar's going to have a full opportunity to make him prove himself worthy. And I would need to see if Oscar proves to be the more dominant driver, how soon is it that McLaren, Zach Brown, and Stella decide, yo, that's where we're putting our chips? Oscar. Because that's going to come, whether it's Lando or whether it's Oscar, that problem's going to come up. And McLaren need to be ready to make a decision right when they realize it going forward. Mary Beanie in the super chat says Lando still needs to find his balls, unlike Pia. I fully 300% agree with Mary Beanie. Without a doubt, he need to find his balls, attach them, and do that. Piastri, I don't think we question his dog mentality. And he doesn't panic. Even when he's being a dog, Oscar doesn't panic. Even when he's in these situations, he's calm, cool, and collective. But he's a dog. Lando ain't like that. He need to get like that. Like Kendrick Lamar said, ain't like us. Lando's like Drake. Pia more like Kendrick. We coming out. I'm just saying it. You got to get off that Drake, man. You got to get off that Drake. You got to get off that Drake type mentality, Lando. You got to be a dog like Pusha T or Kendrick Lamar. You got to be a dog like that. Just calling it like I see it. So big shout out to you all pulling up. That's about as much time as we're going to spend on this topic. We will be looking for more topics. We are getting closer and closer to the first round of the season, but do not forget Drive to Survive. I think, does Drive to Survive come out tomorrow? I want to say Drive to Survive, the new season comes out tomorrow. I want to say it does. Season 7, correct? Comes out, I believe, March 7th. It comes out tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be our first ability to look at Season 7 on March 7th of Drive to Survive. So we will be here talking about what we think about those episodes. And I want to know, is Drive to Survive going to pamper Red Bull and keep Red Bull pretty much out of the story because they don't want to show all the BS that they do, the toxicity that they have, the situation with Christian Horner, that should be in there. The situation with Lando and Max, that should be in there. The situation with, there should be a lot of situations in there that weren't in there the last episode, which I'm questioning if Drive to Survive is not the Max and Red Bull mini organization, because there was so much stuff that should have been in there about Red Bull the other season that it was crazy that it wasn't. I'm disappointed that they didn't reveal that. So we'll see what happens. So big shout out to you all. See you on the next one. Thank you for the support. Thank you for those that are buying the shirts, the hats off the website, also supporting the channel. I really do appreciate you much. I work hard to try to get your orders out. If there's ever a situation, definitely contact me via the contact information on the website, and I will do my best to look into the situation and get you going as soon as possible. But I really do appreciate you all supporting the channel by buying the hats and the shirts. The red hats, the red circle hats will be up there soon. Much love, appreciation. Peace out.